People like me, we don't want to be where we are in the streets using drugs. It's just a happenstance. It's just what happens. Nobody looks into their future and says, I want to be an addict. And I think that it should be more places, not per se recovery because we want to catch it before it gets that far, but it should be more places or more people that can talk to the younger kids. If you get them at the younger age and you let them know that they don't want to go down this path, I think that that would help a lot.
At 21, my life had just become so overwhelming to me that I just wanted to escape. I wanted to escape my own reality of my day-to-day things that I had to do because my plate was just overrunning. It was so full that I just couldn't take it anymore. I can remember when I first tried heroin. I can still remember that day. It was like I had instantly fell in love because it instantly gave me this feeling of euphoria. That everything was okay. That pretty much nothing even mattered because I had found a new best friend. And from that point on, it was downhill. Just a total wreck, and every aspect of my life was just out of order. It was just daily drug use. It was a life of despair. Resources are needed to help people like me, and this is my story from coming from a drug-addicted life to be restored back to normal living. So I would say that the resources is definitely needed to provide a service to Baltimore City residents that are in need of treatment and transitioning to a better life.
You hear the politicians say that they want the drug addicts and the homeless to get help, but the help is so hard to find. You can't get into good rehabs. You can't get into good detoxes. I don't know many junkies or many crackheads that have health insurance. The major difference in what kept me clean was the Marian House. The safe atmosphere, the camaraderie with the women, closeness with the staff. You know, I accepted that I was an addict, fully accepted it. I truly surrendered to the disease of addiction.
I have not forgotten the pain of active addiction. It's still just as fresh as it was yesterday. Living in people's basements with rats in them, an infant son that I would leave in the basement by himself while I go out and cop, and I come back and he'd be on the floor screaming where he done fell out of the bed and landed on concrete, going in empty houses and shooting up. One time I had so much cocaine, I thought I was going to die right then and there. Just the means of getting drugs, no dreams, no goals, no aspirations, just didn't think nothing would ever work for me. I don't want anybody to think that I woke up one day and I was like this. This was a process, and one thing about the word process, I hated it. Process is slow. It does not come overnight. If it happens overnight, believe me, you're going back.
I was told by Miss Kathy when I got to Marian House, the smarter you are, the harder this thing is to beat. Because you could give me a stack of books on addiction and I could read them, and because I could intellectually comprehend them, I thought, I got this. Until I got my addiction education and have a sponsor and through Narcotics Anonymous, and I got my addiction therapy and I got my treatment for the sexual trauma, and I had this all going on at the same time. I started using like when I was 15 or 16. I'm 47 years old. So that's a long time that I used one substance or another. And from the age of 21 to 46 or 47, I was an IV user. It was just much easier to chase the drug than to worry about trying to fix my life and how screwed up it was. And the tools that addiction education class that Marian House gives is so powerful. I mean, I learned so much about the disease of addiction, how cunning and baffling it is. And I learned to recognize when the red flags start going up. And when I have a thought, it's just a thought. You know, I don't have to act on it. And that it's normal for an addict to want to use, but you don't have to go out and use.
I was 21 days clean when I got my Just for the Day keychain, and I knew then I could never ever use drugs again. I cried for 6 months. I cried and cried and cried and cried. And I was at a meeting again, and this guy asked me, he said, well, do you find yourself crying all the time? I said, I'm about to cry now. And he said, you know what it is? It's grieving. I said, grieving? He said, because you have done drugs for so long. It was your best friend. Now you can't do them anymore, and you miss it because that's all I knew. And now it was gone, and something, a part of my life was gone, and I grieved. But after that, it got better. And that guy, I never forget, he went out the next day, used and OD'd. And that's when I knew, I said, okay, God works through people.
Everybody that's on drugs or have been on drugs are not bad people. It's just a choice that we've made because of whatever circumstance. Give us a chance, because everybody deserves that. And just because we were on drugs doesn't mean that we are thieves, or we're going to steal, or we're going to rob, or we're going to do this, you know. Once we become independent, give us a job. You know, give us a chance to work. Let us prove ourselves. Just don't judge us, I think, is the main thing, because I've seen that happen. People judge you.